All right, let's take one more example, which is a little more involved yet, but the procedure is exactly the same. And so let's consider the following. Suppose we have z squared minus z minus 6 divided by z minus 6. And that rational expression will be divided by the expression z squared plus 2z minus 15 over z squared minus 6z. Okay? It's a division of rational expressions, so we'll start out with what we now know is the first step. We're going to invert first and then multiply. It's the first step. So we'll take the z squared minus z minus 6 over z minus 6, and we'll multiply that by the inverted divisor, which gives us a z squared minus 6z divided by z squared plus 2z minus 15. And once again, we have the product of two rational expressions, and we'd like to write it in simplest form. And so what we're going to do is to factor each of the expressions as much as possible, factor completely, so that we can cancel common factors. So let's start out with z squared minus z minus 6. That's a trinomial. If we can factor that, we will have two factors with different signs. We're going to have a z as the first term in each of those factors. And then we need factors of 6, which give us a difference of negative z. And so those factors are going to be 3 and 2. And the 3 should be with a negative and the 2 with a positive sign. Let's check that out. 2z minus 3z will give us the minus z in the middle, which we need. For the denominator, that stays as a z minus 6. The second factor in the numerator over here, and by the way, I didn't write this as a product of the numerators over the product of the denominators. By this time, I'm assuming that you already know that we need to do this, and so that's implied in this multiplication here. So the z squared minus 6z, that has a common factor of z. We'll factor it out, and we're left with z minus 6. So z times z is z squared. Z times minus 6 is a minus 6z. I have trouble saying z's. Now, we have a trinomial here. We've got a negative as the sign before the last term in that trinomial. That means, once again, that the signs are going to be different. We're going to have z's as the first term of the factors. And now we need to take factors of 15 that will give us a difference of 2. Well, we know that those are 5 and 3. The 5 should be the positive. The 3 should be the negative. And let's check the middle term. Plus 5z minus 3z is the plus 2z that we need. All right, so we factor this completely, and now let's simplify. We have a z minus 6 in the denominator and a z minus 6 in the numerator. Those are common factors. Those can be canceled out. We have a z minus 3 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator, so we'll cancel those out. And finally, we can write this as z times z plus 2 divided by z plus 5. But once you write it like this, then look again. Is there anything else that you can cancel out? And in this case, there is a z factor in the numerator, but there's no z factor in the denominator. So this is in lowest terms. So let's look at what we did with division. And looking at this problem, let's see if I can put the whole thing here on the screen. And we started out with an expression that we needed to, it was a problem of dividing rational expressions. So the first thing we did was to invert and multiply, and that's what this step right here. Then we factored each expression completely. We factored each of the possible factors that we could. We factored completely. We canceled, and then we looked again to see if we needed to do any more canceling to write in lowest terms. So dividing rational expressions, invert and multiply, factor completely, and cancel to simplify.